Back with the WMAY morning news feed this week. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, she announced that there's going to be a requirement for customers going to restaurants, entertainment venues, people wanting to get more healthy by going to a gym. They're going to have to show their proof of vaccine. And while some areas of the country have done this already, like in New York City, and even other areas looking at making this a requirement for everybody 12 and up, in Chicago, they're looking to make that a requirement for everybody 5 years and up. They'll have to show their papers in order to go into a restaurant and sit down and eat, or to go and work out at a gym, or to go into a place of entertainment. And it's not going to be required for churches. It's not going to be required for the airport or for office buildings, but for restaurants, bars, gyms, and movie theaters and such. Here's some of the mayor earlier this week talking about her plan for vaccine proof.
There's no denying that we are in a fifth wave of COVID-19. This new wave is seemingly more deadly than the last, spreading faster and causing profound harm.
She also talked about some of the various, measures that are going to be taken here because she says Chicago's in a pretty alarming area right now when it comes to the pandemic.
To be clear, I have not been this concerned about COVID-19 since the early days of the pandemic in 2020.
So the measures that the mayor's ordering here for everybody to show vaccine proof in order to go into a restaurant and eat, or to go to a gym, or to go and take part in indoor entertainment, that's going to start January 3rd. I reached out to Chicago State Representative LaShawn Ford yesterday, and I asked him for his thoughts, his reactions here, and in particular how he feels this is going to impact businesses in Chicago. Here's some of what State Representative LaShawn Ford, who's a representative out of Chicago at the State House, here's his reaction.
Well, it will put Chicago businesses at a disadvantage from its surrounding restaurants and venues. But, I have to say, if the mayor and her team has evidence that the spread happens at the venues where you're requiring vaccine cards, then hopefully it works. But in my opinion, the only true way to stop the spread, since we know that there are breakthroughs, is to make sure that people are tested. A negative test is the right approach. Vaccine cards are great, but it does not stop the spread like a negative test. So we need to ramp up testing in the city of Chicago and do everything that we can to get people tested. If the mayor worked with the business community and this is what they believe will help their business and help the city of Chicago, then we have to watch and see. But in my opinion, we know that a vaccine card does not guarantee that a person will not be spreading the virus. And if we're using the vaccine card as a way to say that the virus is not going to be spreaded in the restaurant or in the venues where they're required, then I think that we're sending off a false sense of security. So we have to test. Testing is the best way to prevent the spread.
Well, of course, in my conversation with State Representative LaShawn Ford, who's a Chicago State Representative, he sees the businesses that are going to be impacted by this, and he sees the individuals who are going to be impacted by this as well. A variety of people have not gotten the COVID-19 vaccine for myriad reasons. Either they're allergic, either they had COVID and they got over it and they have natural immunity. Seems nobody's talking about that. Or they have various other apprehensions about getting the vaccine, either be it for religious reasons or for some groups that have been at the wrong end of government imposing certain things against them medically without their knowledge of the true impacts. Those types of things and those hesitations are still very much prevalent in some communities. And he sees that those communities are going to be negatively impacted by this. Again, more from my conversation with State Representative LaShawn Ford from yesterday.
Yes, there is no doubt that that when you see the numbers of people that's not taking the shot, it's clear that there is going to be a major, major impact on blacks being able to go to these venues. And that's why I think that if we test, then I think that we'll be more likely to get more people to live everyday normal lives. And testing is also an opportunity to educate people. The more you require people to test, I think the more likely you will get them to come around to taking the vaccine. But when you keep pushing the vaccine to people that are resistant, you only set up more resistance. And so we have to do everything that we can to convince people to take the shot.
Again, that's State Representative LaShawn Ford reacting to Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot and now implementing a indoor vaccine requirement where people are going to have to show their vaccine proof in order to take part in what just before a couple of years ago seemed to be normal activities, going to a restaurant or a movie theater or working out at a gym. So you hear that he's talking about how he wants to focus more on testing. And I asked him, I said, so are you wanting to just have testing be what's required, or testing or a vaccine card, or I wanted him to clarify that a bit more from State Representative LaShawn Ford.
I think focusing on testing is the solution. That's the key. I mean, I think that restaurants should be responsible for what they set as the standards for their business. That would be the best, and allow restaurants to set up testing at their sites. But once again, if we continue to say that the vaccine cards are the sure measure of safety, then we got a problem.
You know, there are others who highlight that even those who are vaccinated can spread COVID-19. And I've also heard other recommendations that instead of testing for COVID vaccines, or rather, if you have COVID, possibly there should be more tests developed to show whether people have immunity from COVID-19, because sometimes people may have had COVID and they didn't even realize it. They got over it and they have immunities. Shouldn't they be shown whether they're immune? And isn't that the best way to go about it? Because if you're immune, you can go about your life. But if you are a negative test, then, you know, you could walk down the street and have an interaction with somebody and possibly catch it. So it seems that maybe testing for immunity would possibly be a better approach. So I just wanted to share some of the conversation I had with State Representative LaShawn Ford as Chicago's vaccine requirement for indoor activities, be it entertainment, be it restaurant, be it gym. They are going to require you to show proof. And Representative Ford sharing some of his concerns about the impact on businesses, the impact on the Black community, and how there needs to be a different emphasis, not just on vaccination, but on testing for COVID-19. So good to hear from Representative Ford, and that, again, will go into effect January 3rd for everybody 5 years and older in Chicago. And it's good to hear those concerns from that community. All right, it is now 7:19, and